Welcome back to the channel. Tonight, I'll be reading some ghost stories. So strap yourselves in as we journey into the unknown. A couple of years ago, I had just finished reading in bed before turning my lamp off and settling down to sleep. This would be about 1:30 in the morning. I closed my eyes and I heard a voice say, "Meow," like imitating a cat but poorly. My window was open and I thought it was just someone being weird outside. I lived alone and had done for many years, so I didn't tend to scare easily. When I opened my eyes, in the middle of my bedroom was a small boy wearing a red sweater and waving his arm above his head. I leapt up in a split second and I smashed the light on. My heart was racing like mad. As soon as the light was on, the boy had disappeared. I looked outside my window, but I didn't see anything. Not one soul. My bedroom door was closed the entire time, so there was no way he got out. Now, nothing paranormal has happened to me before, nor to the previous owners as far as I'm aware. I spent the whole night totally freaked out, only getting a bit of sleep when it started to get light outside. The next day, when I told my friends about the encounter, they laughed it off. For the next few nights, other weird stuff started happening. I would hear faint voices coming from my TV that was off, and I noticed shadows dip by the side of my bed from out the corner of my eye. Eventually, I started Googling cleansing and exorcists and whatnot. I actually resorted to saying out loud, "I'm really tired, but if you could not haunt me for one night, I'd be really grateful." I shared the experiences with my friends again, and one of them asked if I was on drugs. Well, funnily enough, I just started taking this new tablet for my asthma. When I got home, I read the side effects, and one of them was hallucinations. I stopped taking them, and no more hauntings, but I still can't help wonder if it was really just hallucinations, or if somehow my sixth sense became more sensitive while taking them. A few years ago, my family and I lived in a house with a very large basement. Our basement had a door which led to a smaller room where my dad mainly kept his tools in. When I was about 16, I went downstairs to get a textbook because I was working on a science project. It was about 3 a.m. So when I went downstairs and turned on the light, I heard the doorknob on the door which led to the smaller room violently shake. Whoever was trying to open the door couldn't because it was locked. Then they banged on the door one time and stopped. I thought it could have been my brother or my dad who probably got stuck in there, so I went to go check. But just in case, I went back upstairs to pick up my dad's hunting rifle. With my heart beating out of my chest, I opened that door. No one was there. This is impossible because there's no other way out of the small door other than that door. Even if the person who was violently shaking the doorknob opened the door and left, I would have seen him or her while I was upstairs grabbing the rifle. I was over at my girlfriend's house having an after-school snack with her in her kitchen when she told me she saw an old man with a large white beard sitting in a living room. I laughed it off since the house was only about 10 years old or so, and the property firmly being woods meant it couldn't be haunted. Well, at least as far as I knew. few weeks later, I'm staying over the night, and I'm sitting with her in the kitchen. I returned from the bathroom, and as I walked in, I saw a man in a dining room sitting at the head of the table. I didn't see a beard, but it was an old man. Now fast forward a few months. She had a friend visiting from Brazil. Her friend was downstairs next to the living room, while my girlfriend and I were studying upstairs. Suddenly, her friend busted through the door crying hysterically. My girlfriend asked what had happened in Portuguese. Her friend replied, "I was downstairs listening to music with my headphones in, and when I turned the corner to go to the living room, I ran into this old man with a long white beard." Now I know my girlfriend wouldn't have told her because we both didn't take this thing too seriously enough to tell anyone about it. And I've never spoken to her about it either because I can barely get a word in with her in English. When I was about 12 years old, the dream catcher I'd had since I was little had broken. It's not a big deal, I wasn't really attached to it, but it felt weird not having anything on the hook in my ceiling. So my mum took me to a market a couple of days later, and we found a ceiling decoration made out of crystals and beads. When we got home, I hung it above my bed. That night, I was woken up somewhere around midnight by footsteps outside my bedroom. They went past the side of my house and eventually faded out, but I never heard the side gate open. I didn't really think anything of it and fell back asleep. But then the footsteps continued every single night from that moment on, between 10 p.m. and midnight. I would hear the footsteps past my bedroom and the absent sound of the gate opening. The footsteps were unlike anyone else's in the family. They were heavy, like a guy in work boots, but a heavyset guy. And they always went up the side of the house and faded without gates being opened on either side. It got to the point that I couldn't fall asleep until I heard them pass for the night. About a month later, I tried to see who was walking past, so I bolted outside with a flashlight as soon as I heard those heavy, thunderous steps barreling past. I turned on my light and aimed it at the sound of the footsteps, but all that was there was open air in the pitch black of the night. That's when I clicked that the footsteps started on the same night as I had hung the decoration in my room. I raced back inside and took it down immediately, burying it deep in my closet. I never heard those footsteps again. A guy on my beat got dispatched for a well-being check of an elderly lady. After a few minutes, the guy asked for a supervisor. A few minutes later, they dispatched me to the lady's house. When I get there, the supervisor asks me to climb in through an unsecured window at the back of the house because I'm a bit smaller than the rest. I get to the window and I can tell it's to the bedroom. I can hear a loud television on in another room, and it sounds like Fox News. I yell out, "Police! Anyone need help?" as I climb in through the window. I hear an old raspy voice call, "Here." I run out of the bedroom, down the hall, to where I heard the voice call from. From the living room, I see a lady laying face down in the dining room area. I call out for her. "Ma'am, did you fall? Where are you hurt?" I run to her, but she's not moving. I touch her hand, and it's ice cold. She's dead, and been so for a few days. I unlock the front door and let the supervisor and other officer in. I tell them I heard a voice and we need to check the whole house. 45 minutes later, there was no one else in there. I know the TV was on, but I could tell it was the news and heard that voice calling me over it. Thanks so much for listening to the video if you've made it this far. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more videos like this. I plan to release one every fortnight now that I'm back from a break. If you're feeling a bit chatty and you want to drop me a comment with which story you like the most, if you maybe want to suggest something for next time's video, or if you just wanted to say hi, feel free and I'll respond to it as soon as I can. See you in the next one.